Hey everybody, I'm back with another fun back to school makeup look. Today's look is going to be featuring some inexpensive products, and we're going to be doing kind of a neutral eye with a very bold lip. So let's get started. So I have already applied my foundation and my concealer, and I did just a touch of contour at my cheekbones. And now I'm going to get started with my eyes. Now I'm first going to apply some primer. This is Too Faced Shadow Insurance, which you've seen before. Now I know this is kind of a more expensive primer, but e.l.f. also makes a pretty good primer as well that's a lot cheaper than this. I don't think it's quite as good, but for the price difference, it's worth checking out. It's in their mineral line, it's their mineral eyelid primer. Okay, next I'm going to be using some eyeshadows from Wet n Wild. Now, I know Wet n Wild, I think a lot of us think of junior high makeup when we think of Wet n Wild, but don't write them off. They actually have some really great products that they're coming out with lately, and this is one of them. This is from the Color Icon Trio makeup palette, and I think it's called Walking on Eggshells. It's really great. The pigmentation is fantastic. It applies really well. It's got just the right amount of sheen. So I'm going to be using just these two shades right here. I'm going to apply this lighter pink shade all over the lid. And I'm just going to apply that using an e.l.f. shader brush. Any brush will do, really. And I want to keep that mostly below my crease, just all the way across my lid. Okay, because I'm going to be doing a bold lip today, I want to keep the colors on my eyelid very neutral and very light. So I'm going to take this brown shade here into my crease, but I just want to apply it very lightly. I'm going to be using a MAC 217 brush. Any fluffy brush will do. I know e.l.f. makes a good fluffy shade, a fluffy crease brush, and I think Revlon does as well. So I'm just going to start at the corner and slightly just kind of windshield wiper pull that across the lid. I'm going to go in with a liquid liner in a brown shade. Now if you're not very practiced or afraid of using a liquid liner, you could also use a gel liner, works great, or even just a kohl pencil would work as well. Okay, though I'm using a liquid liner, I want this line to be very thin, so it gives a lot of definition without making it very obvious that you're wearing a liquid liner. Be sure when you use a liquid liner that you use very small strokes and keep it as close to your lash line as you can. So there's my completed liner. Just a couple things to keep in mind if you are using a liquid liner. Make sure that you never use it on your lower lash line. Always just keep it to your upper lash line, and also keep it as close to your roots as you can. Now for this look, I wanted to keep a really thin line so it's not very obvious that I'm wearing a liquid liner. So now to define my bottom lash, I'm going to go in with a powder. Okay, I'm going to be taking this dark brown shade here. It's just a matte dark brown shade. Any dark brown matte shade would work. I know that Wet n Wild, not in this palette, but in another palette, has a good matte dark brown shade. And I'm going to take that on an angled brush. I'm just going to apply that right on that, up into the roots of those lower lashes. Just for a tiny bit of definition. Now I'll do the other side. Next, I'm going to apply my mascara. Now, a tip for this look, you want to keep your mascara pretty subtle. So I actually like to use a tube of mascara that's a little bit older or more dried out, just so it's not too gloopy and it looks very natural. This is a tube that I've had for a while of CoverGirl Lash Blast. It's nearly gone, but there will be just enough in there to give my lashes a little bit of definition. I'm going to apply a brow highlight, and I'm just actually going to be using a translucent face powder. If you have something similar in shade, you really just want it to kind of matte that out up there. So you can use any face powder that is your color, or even a little bit lighter. Now we're going to move on to our lips. Now today I'm going to be using, for my lip color, this is a lipstick by e.l.f. This is just $1 in their just regular essentials line, and this is the color Sociable. It's really just kind of a very bright, vivid, kind of pinkish red. It's got quite a bit of pink in it. It does have glitter in it, which I'm not thrilled about, but it really is a fun color. We're going to start by applying a lip liner. Now you can use any red or bright pink shade for this. Any brand will make one. You know, after I apply my liner, I like to kind of just dab it a little bit, just to soften it up. I don't want too definite of a line. This is really just to help your lipstick stick and last longer. Okay, now I'm going to go in with this small detail brush. I actually don't own a lip brush. That tells you how often I wear a bright lip. But if you just want to use the tube, you can do that as well. This is just going to give you kind of a softer, more natural look if you use a brush. Just going to get that all over my brush. And then just like the lip liner, just kind of press into my lips. Also, an important thing to note when you're applying a bright lipstick, make sure that your lips are very well conditioned and exfoliated long before you apply your lipstick. So I put on a lip balm about 30-40 minutes ago just to make sure they were well moisturized without being greasy when I applied it. If you have too much balm underneath your lipstick, it's not going to stay on very well. I'm going to blot. And I'm going to apply just a little bit more. Color is looking kind of orange on the camera, but it's really quite pink in person. There is my finished lip. Next I'm going to do my cheek color. Now I wanted to do my lip before I did my cheek color just to make sure that I didn't go overboard on my cheek, because I want to keep all the focus on my lip because it's so bright. So I'm actually going to go in with a cream blush. This one is by Stila. You could really use any blush. I know that Maybelline makes some really good, they're sort of cream blushes. They're kind of foam blushes, but they work great. Now I'm going to be applying a cream blush with my finger. Now I like to keep, when I'm doing my makeup, I like to keep a cotton bud, just a clean cotton bud with rubbing alcohol on it, just so if I apply anything with my fingers, I can kind of clean them off, get all the dirt and oil off of them before I put them into my product and onto my face. So I'm going to go in with my ring finger, just get a bit of that cream. And apply just at the apple of my cheek and blend outward. Okay, now I'm going to take a clean finger, just my finger right next to it, and blend the edges of that out. You don't want to use the same finger because we don't want to spread this and have blush all over the place. Alright, so here's the finished look. I hope you enjoyed that, and for those of you that are brave enough to wear a bright lip to school, I think you'll look fantastic. So yeah, if you have any questions about products or anything like that, please leave me a comment, and thanks for watching. Bye.